Hi there, people. My least favorite part of going live is like the first 30 to a minute when I'm just waiting for people to show up. And I already have anxiety about communicating to a group of people in a one-way fashion. Kind of two-way. You guys can comment, but you know what I mean. So, but we're here to talk about Mystic, and it's going to be good. I'm going to feel centered. It'll be nice. Hi, everybody. I see your I love yous. I see your hellos. I love you back. Hello to you, too. I'm super excited to talk about Mystic. Oh, my God. So, I'm going to go ahead and invite you guys now to start sending questions and all of that so that I have talking points. Because I am not good at this. I haven't been live in a really long time, so bear with me as I get back into it, right? Okay, so we got over 100 now, so I think I can start talking. So as you guys know, we released a lot to you today. We gave you guys the Mystic album cover, which is crazy. I'm so excited. And we gave you the album trailer. I'm really excited about both of those pieces, obviously, because one really fun thing is that the cover, please pay attention to every single item on the cover. They are all very important, very symbolic, and going to appear in the visuals. So important. So that's I'll just leave that little, we'll put a pin in that and leave that there, right? And later on, as this rollout continues and as I give you more and more content from Mystic, you will learn what I mean by every piece is significant, because I promise it'll all become clear soon. It's just right now, I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm starting to get questions. First question is there any features? Much like my last album, we are going featureless. And there is not a bonus track feature or anything like that like there was on the last one. It is 100% me, and that was really intentional, because this album is autobiographical in a way that I couldn't invite anyone on to tell my story, because it just wouldn't have accomplished what this album needed. It wouldn't have been productive to the point of the album. I promise eventually I'll give you guys a feature, probably. I just, not on this album. Right now, what was important to me with this album is that I could get in a room with my best friend, Seven. Michael Seven Summers, go to check him out. He's our in-house producer at Strange. He's the reason I'm doing music, period. And he is he's my music soulmate. We are on the same wavelength. This project would not have been possible without him. Obviously, he produced every single track. It was just me and him getting to do music with no parameters, no guidelines. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And we were the only two people who really touched it. So, next question. Why did you make us wait so long? I'm sorry. So let me kind of explain what the wait's been about, because I know I've been talking about making this album for a really long time. I started recording this album in October of 2018, right? I got it done in 9 studio days over the course of the next couple months. It got finished and someone's probably going to correct me on this because I posted when it got finished. I think it was January 17th of 2019 or something. I could be wrong. Mackenzie Nicole's will probably check me if I am. And so I have this really huge, ambitious vision at the time, right, of what these visuals need to be. And in creating them, and what you kind of got a peek of in the trailer, there was a lot of prep, a lot of consideration, not only into the visuals, but the rollout in general. So that is why it took so long. I genuinely wanted it to be in its best state when it got to you guys. And that's not just a cop-out for, lazy, you know what I mean? It genuinely, this album deserved so much, and I didn't want to rush it. On top of it, there's, this theme that I ended up falling in love with, of psychics with this album, as you can tell from the album cover, and mysticism, hence the name, and all of that. And there was this kind of charm about releasing it in 2020, because this album is about reflection for me, and hindsight's 2020, and you can view that as corny if you want, but that was something that when I thought of it, I was like, that's kind of significant, you know what I mean? Like, I had to seize the day on that. All right. Sorry, I'm scrolling. I'm sorry, guys. Can you really not hula hoop? I cannot hula hoop. I kind of did one time, but I can't. Hopefully we have more mystic questions. When will we get the track list? I was thinking about that today. Sorry, I'm like so excited. Like, I'm a giggle goose right now because I am just the most excited I've ever been about anything in my life. The track list is coming soon. So soon. You guys know some of the songs already, right? So I'll talk about the ones you know about. I've performed 5 months, 4 days. I have performed Happy. And I've mentioned A Cut Rose and Tap Water. And I've performed on the news an acoustic version of The House Above the World. Other than that, I don't think I've revealed any other titles to you guys. Again, someone will check me on that if I'm incorrect. Please do. But I really want to do something cool with this track list. If I don't end up, I really want to make it, again, as impactful as I felt like this trailer was and all that. So, I promise I won't make you wait 40 years like I did for the album itself and the release date and all that information. One thing I want to tell you guys that I get a lot is whether or not Coming for Blood is going to be on the album. Coming for Blood, for those of you who don't know, I performed it a lot on the last couple tours. It was part of my live set. It is not going to be on Mystic. It's going to be released eventually. It won't hit the Mackenzie Nicole discography graveyard. I promise. It is a song that is heavily and highly important to me, and it's a story that needs to be told. It just wasn't this story, you know what I mean? So I promise you'll see Coming for Blood, just won't be on Mystic. Scrolling. How many music videos to come? I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you. I should have called my dad beforehand and been like, hey, so what exactly am I allowed to say on this live so I don't get in trouble? There are a lot. This album is not just an album, but there's a reason that there was a trailer, right? What has trailers? What type of visual? That should be, I'm trying to be vague, but that should be indicative of the length you're looking at in terms of visuals collectively. Oh, this is cute. For real though, I'm pre-ordering it. I love your music. I just found it today. That makes me so happy. That makes me really happy. Thank you to everyone who has pre-ordered it or plans to pre-order it. When you pre-order is open now, by the way. The link is in my bio. You will get not a pre-order track like we normally do, but a super cool Mystic enamel pin, and it may or may not look like this. Thank you guys for supporting me already in this project. I've had a lot of people tell me they pre-ordered, and I'm seeing the numbers, and it's really cool to already get this outpouring of support from you guys. I love it. Even if you don't have the ability to pre-order right now, which I understand you may not, I love that you guys have been so receptive to this. So just, oh my God, I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful right now. Why is Mystic purple and red? I'm so glad you asked. Again, this is all about the symbolism. So purple, I found these great color quotes. I should pull them up, but you don't have time for that. Purple is the color that aligns in these color, in this color psychology stuff I read, which I'm super into, even if it's whether it's junk science or not, I think it's cool. It's the color that aligns oneself with the universe and spirituality and divinity, and it's just a very spiritual color. And that was something that obviously spirituality in all senses, not necessarily in religion or anything like that, but just spirituality in terms of one's relationship with the universe, is the theme of this album, one of the main themes. And so that was really important to me. And then red is a color of passion and the instinctive need for survival. And this entire album is about my attempt at survival and my success in that, through I don't know how many people know exactly what this album's about, because I've talked about it on some podcasts and interviews, things like that. But what it's about is, like, I went through this mental breakdown in 2018, this, like, 6-month mental breakdown. And that was January to June. October rolls around. It's time to write about something for our next album, right? At this point, I've gotten psychiatric help. I'm medicated, all this. Like, I've been diagnosed as bipolar 1, best news I ever got. And I realize I have all the content I could possibly need to do my next album. So I wrote about that mental breakdown and what it took for me to not die by my own hands, essentially. So, just a little background. That's why Purple and Red. Why don't I have Tech feature on one of my songs? Me and Tech do plenty together, you know what I mean? Like, I've had him feature on, like, the One More remix, things like that. Like we've said before, like, I don't really do features that much, like, on my music. I'm a little selfish and controlling. How have I been? Doing great. When am I coming to Arizona? I don't know. Love the sample of The House Above the World. Ooh, I love that song. It's the best song I've ever written and recorded. Mystic doesn't have a title track. I gave that away. Well, now you know what one of the song titles isn't. But, like, the informal, like, title track is The House Above the World. It is, like, the song on the album that is, like, pinnacle. You know what I mean? Album cover's so dope. Thank you. When will I unveil the track list? I'm sorry. So soon, I promise. Okay. Sorry, I'm, like, way back in the questions, and I'm trying my hardest to scroll. Thank you guys so much for being patient. I really love you guys and appreciate you guys. I am so excited right now. What's the plan for 2020? I have a lot going on in 2020. Obviously, you know Mystic's coming out. If you don't know that, you need to catch up, because we've been talking about it this entire time. It's coming out on Valentine's Day, and after that, it's going to be, like, full speed ahead. I hope you guys are ready, because it's going to be crazy. I will be touring next year. Can't really give any more details on that. I'm going to be playing shows. I'm going to be doing as much as I can to push this album, because it is so important to me, and I want it to be important to you, and I think you guys are really going to fall in love with it, too. So hopefully 2020 is as big of a year as I think it should be, given this album. Did I communicate with any psychics whilst working on this album? That's a really good question. So I've always been interested in the concept of psychics and mystics, and not necessarily in the respect that, like, I totally buy into it or don't buy into it. I believe, and it's been proven, that, like, we all kind of put off psychic energy to one another. But I think that the way I would explain psychics and, like, mystics and that variety of talent, you know, gifted people, is I think that those are just people who are maybe more sensitive to that psychic energy in other people. So throughout my life, I have interacted with a lot of, like, psychics, mediums, etc. I know they're not the same thing, but you know what I mean, that genre of profession. But specifically for this album, no, I did research a lot, though. I really was careful in trotting the line between, like, I guess, appropriating psychic culture and respecting, like, what I think is a really cool concept. But I think whoa, I just totally messed up speaking. There's a lot of symbolism here, and there is, like, kind of a double meaning of what it is to be a psychic. I can't talk anymore. I'm gonna give stuff away. Okay. How many singles are there? And singles, we're kind of doing something unconventional when it comes to singles. It's not like, oh, this track is going to be really radio viable, let's release it first as a lead single type of release. You guys will see, I promise. Pick Out a Cloud. Thank you, Mackenzie. You're not Mackenzie, I'm Mackenzie. Mackenzie Nicole's. I have revealed another track name, apparently, called Pick Out a Cloud. So that's The House of the World, To Cut Rose and Topwater, Happy, 5 Months, 4 Days, Pick Out a Cloud. What was my favorite part of the process for the album? Oh my god, what wasn't my favorite part? I have to say 2 parts. First of all, my dream, Seven is the reason I'm doing music. Producer Seven from Strange. He is my mentor. He's my hero. He is like the reason why I'm here talking to you guys right now. And so getting to accomplish my dream, which was to make an entire album, just me and him, with no one else's input, telling us what to do. Just basically, we were told just do art, which is like the most creative freedom I've ever had. This is the first time I've had creative control over an album. And it's, according to him, the most creative freedom he's ever had. We just got to make art, you know what I mean? So writing and recording this album with him while he produced the most amazing content I could possibly dream of was gorgeous. Equally as wonderful was filming the visuals. I filmed them over the course of 2 weeks. You're going to see why it took that long very soon. And it was my favorite part of my job is filming visuals. Like, I don't know why in particular. It just fills me with like so much joy and like electrifies me as an artist. And so getting to do that was amazing. Probably like the happiest I've ever been was during that 2 weeks, period. Like happiest I've ever been in my life. All right. So those are probably my two favorite parts. Every song has an accompanying music video, says Mackenzie Nicole's. I can neither confirm nor deny that. Unless I've already confirmed it or denied it. I don't remember. Your dad gonna whoop that ass if you spoil. Yeah, I'm really terrified that I'm gonna mess something up and like slip up and say something big that was supposed to be a big reveal, and I'm gonna get a phone call like, do you want to explain to me why you just revealed on Instagram Live, etc., etc. Wait, there was a trailer, someone says. Yes, my most recent post from 6 o'clock, and also previewed on my story, is the album trailer, where you get to have a sneak peek into what the visuals look like and that universe that we created. You know, actually, no, we didn't create it. I always say about Mystic and about the visuals and about the album itself, I didn't create it. It existed independent of me somewhere in the universe. I happen to be the person who found it. So I shouldn't say the universe we created, the universe we portrayed. When is Strange Fest, and will you perform Mystic songs this year? I don't know an exact date. I don't know if one's established. Obviously, I think it'll be in the summer again. That would make sense. But yes, I will be performing Mystic songs because the album will be out by then, and it'll be awesome. Am I already working on the next album after Mystic? Yes, I am, baby. Me and Seven are killing it already. And I'm going to focus on Mystic during this live because if I don't, the label's gonna be like, please just hone in on one thing, please have television. But when you hear the next album, you're gonna freak out. Like, oh, we got it like in the channel, it's like locked and loaded, ready to go. Oh, it's so good. Okay, what is the overall message I want to send with Mystic? The thing I keep saying whenever people ask me what I want people to walk away from Mystic is I want people to walk away with a better understanding of self and others. This album helped me realize, recognize, validate myself. I had this really incredible experience where I was forced to, I always say songwriting is very difficult because first you have to unearth your emotions, and if you suppress them like me, that's very difficult. Then you have to articulate them. Then you have to say them out loud. Then you have to hear your own voice say things you don't want to hear. Then you have to play it for other people. Then you have to monetize it for other people. And so having to do that, though, in this process, I wasn't filled with the same like embarrassment and shame I usually feel when I share with my emotions. I actually it was very cleansing for me because I finally understood better myself and what I went through. I could put names and faces to feelings and experiences in a way I couldn't before. And then I've had this amazing experience where I've been in a lot of business meetings and things like that where I've gotten to play this album for people. And every single time, I swear to God, that someone's heard this album or that I played this in like a meeting full of people, someone will come up to me after and say, hey, listen, like, I'm going through this divorce and I totally understood this song. Or, hey, like, I went through this mental breakdown myself, like, and I totally, like, I get the record. Or, hey, I'm bipolar also, like, are you one or two? Like, and so, like, having these moments where I get to connect with others, like I said, better understanding of self and others is all I want you to gain from this album. That's what's important. The only way to relate is to articulate, and that's what this album did for me, and I really hope it does it for you. Okay. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Did Seven help write the songs, or did you write all the lyrics all by yourself? Me and Seven have a strict you do you, I'll do me policy. I don't touch production. He doesn't touch songwriting. And he'll, like, I should say, he will give input in terms of, like, if he has an idea and he's like, you must do this. Like, he'll definitely give me the input. But there's definitely not necessarily a moment where we sit down together and co-write the song. We kind of just both stay in our lanes and then marry them at the end when we're recording. Is there going to be a Mystic tour? That's a really good question. I would love that. That'd be dope. That'd be really cool. When is my new album coming out? Mystic is coming out on Valentine's Day. Because why not? I noticed a movement line. I'm trying to read questions, but a lot of these are compliments, and it makes me feel really good, but I'm trying to find questions, and I love you guys so much. Lead single before the album drops. Sweet girl. I am afraid I will not reveal that information to you. You will see as we release, which will start obviously before it drops February 14th. It will become clear why the chronology of the releases is the way it is. Like, it'll be super clear. So I'm not going to tell you yet. What track was the hardest to record? I cried in the booth during so many of these tracks. Like, they have footage of me just bawling, like standing. I'm about to cry thinking about it. Oh my God, I'm such a baby. There's footage of me, like, in the booth, like, in front of the mic, just tears running down my face. In the studio, behind the board, tears running down my face. In my car writing, tears running down my face. Like, so many of these songs were so painful. A Cut Rose and Tap Water. I went in that morning to the studio with the intent to write a track featuring a rapper friend of mine that was like this turn up, super lit, like party anthem. Like, it was super like, you know? And as I was trying to record it, I recorded it and then I re-recorded it, then I rewrote it, then I re-recorded it. And I felt so disgusting internally that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. And so then I went out to my car and I pulled up this beat that originally I wasn't going to use because it made me feel too dark when I first heard it. It brought me to a place that I couldn't be. And I pulled it up and I decided, yeah, I am going to use it. I wrote the song in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes in my car, went in and recorded the most raw song on the album. That was difficult. When you hear it, you'll understand because it is a rough listen. It's really sad. And then another song that was hard to write was Happy. And I can talk a little bit more about why that was sad than I can about A Cut Rose and Tap Water because people have heard Happy and you know the lyrics if you've heard it or seen any footage of it. Happy is about a relationship. There are 3 relationship songs on the album. And so this one is the breakup one. You know, there's one that's about being in a relationship. One is the breakup. One's the post-relationship. This is the breakup. And there's this line, and it is, "We were Kurt and Courtney, why don't you adore me?" And that's like the saddest. Oh, don't be a baby, don't cry. The saddest line on the album for me. Because, like, to have to ask someone why they don't adore you, like, it's just really sad. So, oh my God, I'm like gonna cry right now. Okay, don't cry. Moving on. That was, yeah. Is House Above the World still your favorite song from Mystic? Yes, The House Above the World is the best song ever written and recorded by me. Chef's kiss. It's beautiful. I always feel like really like kind of uncomfy in this like interim time between me like speaking and me scrolling and me answering questions because I know that you're just looking at me and I'm just kind of staring at you and there's no interaction happening and you're just watching me reach forward and scroll through your comments. Okay, sorry, I'll focus. How come you didn't release the EPs leading up to it? So I know that I've gotten a lot of questions in terms of how this is going to be released. because of the other releases on Strange right now coming in like double singles or in 4-song EPs or whatever it may be, leading up to a full project. For me, we are just doing it classic full album style, with single, if you want to call it that, releases beforehand. So that's why there's been a lot of space between my first album and the second album. Not a lot of space, I would say. It's just about a year, 2, maybe. A year and a half. Oh my God, let's stick on my teeth. There we go, fix that. Sorry. Because I didn't want to dilute the discography before getting into something so important. The only thing I've released since The Edge is Complications, and that was very intentional. It's kind of a palate cleanser between The Edge and Mystic. Complications is the first thing you've heard that I had creative control over. The Edge was not that I didn't have creative control fully over The Edge. Complications was the first thing, and Complications introduces themes, motifs that are going to be relevant in Mystic, and that's why that was the single we released beforehand. But other than that, it was very intentional that we didn't throw a bunch of music at you before handing you this very important project. What songs do I think the Mac Mob will gravitate the most towards? This is really hard. I think there's going to be a population that will love The House of the World because I love The House of the World, you know what I mean? Like, I think that me having such strong feelings for it will kind of permeate into the collective consciousness of the fan base, because you guys know how personal it is to me. But I think that you guys typically like depressing stuff, so you're probably going to love it, Cut Rose and Tap Water. I think you guys are just going to like adore that because it's depressing. And you guys, like, whenever I'm like, I'm going to kill myself, you guys are like, it's fine. But like, I hope you guys are ready for me to do happy music too, because one day we'll get there. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of friends and family on here. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. For everyone asking me if I'm coming to your city or your state soon, I don't know. So I'm sorry. I am scrolling. You single? Well, after watching me talk for this long, do you think anyone could tolerate being in a relationship with me? Do I accept graphic design work from artists? Yeah, send in stuff, and I'd love to see your work. I can't promise that, like, it's gonna be, like, I can't be like, oh, yeah, like, send me something that'll end up on a shirt. Like, can't do that, but, like, I do graphic design on the side, so, like, I just want to make artist friends, so send me stuff. I don't care. How many videos have you done for the new album? The cinematography, too, the preview of Mystic is off the chain. Thank you so much. We genuinely, like, got together the best team in every respect for this project. Like, it was directed in-house, and we'll talk more about the visuals as they come out, but in-house by Taylor Lamb, at the Taylor Lamb, if you're looking for him. He's tagged in some of my stuff. And he did a gorgeous job alongside the rest of our team, who I wish I could shout all of them out, but there's just so many. Our video department at Strangeland, and Strange Music killed it, and so I hope you guys enjoy what you see, because it genuinely is beautiful. Is my dad in any of the videos? No, he's not. My dad is shy, guys. Okay, I am scrolling, and I am seeing few questions. What is your favorite color and why? I don't have one. If I had to pick one, I'd say black, because it's like all I wear. I know I'm supposed to be talking about Mystic, but I'm just gonna throw in some other ones as like little palette cleansers, so it's not just like Mystic. Okay. How old were you when you met Tech Nine? I've known Tech my entire life, since I was born. What's the best thing about songwriting? Man, that's hard. I'm not one of those people who's like getting something off your chest or like expressing your feelings. The best part about songwriting for me is working with like Seven, honestly. and getting to write. Like, I'm a writer first. Like, if I didn't do music, I would be a writer of some sort. Like, I'd work for a publication, do something like that. Like, writing is my first love, really, as much as music. And so I gotta say that getting to exercise this thing I love and don't really get to do anymore now that I'm not in school writing essays and stuff or studying literature daily is probably it. It exercises this muscle that I love to stretch. The song I dropped in spring and summer is that on the album. It's Complications, I assume is what you're talking about, because that's the last thing I released, and it is not on the album. When is more merch dropping for you? Ooh, so soon, baby. New Mystic merch. So good. You can also buy those Mystic beanies that have the this eye right here on the forehead, my little third eye, and you can you already get those at the Strange Music merch store, so get online and get that if you want, because it's really cool and I designed it. How many songs are on the album? 12, I will say that, and hopefully I don't get in trouble. I'm pretty sure I've said that before. Is Post Malone going to feature on Mystic? Yes, he is. Shortly after our wedding, we're going to be releasing that track. No, he's not. I wish. If I had I love when people are like, you should feature so-and-so unattainable celebrity, and I'm like, honey, if I could feature them, I would have. I love that boy. What singer would your dream duet be with? That's really hard, because, like, everyone expects me to be, like, Post Malone, and, like, that'd be dope, but, like, I also think it'd be cool to do something with Young Thug, like, Millie Golightly style, you know what I mean, like, Family Don't Matter-esque. I would love to, Flume's a producer, but I'd love to work with him. I'm trying to think, I would love to songwrite with Marina. There are a lot of artists that I just love. When you're writing these emotional songs, do you ever have to lock yourself away to get those emotions out? I am in a very comfortable space at Strange, where usually the only people in the room are me, occasionally Seven when he's not working from home, and our amazing engineer, Ben Cebulski. He is the most immaculate, talented, genius engineer there is, and I'm very, very, very fortunate to have him. But me and him, like, have this amazing relationship where I can, like, cry in the booth and I'm comfortable around him. So I don't really have to lock myself away from people, because the people I'm with are safe spaces for me. Are you still rocking with Strange? You bet I am. I got, like, 3 Strange Music chains sitting over there. Do I rap on my new album? Absolutely not. You will not hear me rap, baby. We don't need another blonde hair, blue eyed white girl trying to rap. Okay? We just simply don't. Here we go. Sorry, I am scrolling through your thoughts. I'm, like, way back. Like, I'm reading comments from when I was crying. So, if that tells you. What's the main thing that drives my inspiration? The main thing that drives me is the fact that I listen to music literally nonstop. Like, every single moment of my life, I have a soundtrack playing behind me of whatever is emotionally speaking to me at the moment. So, basically, my art is an amalgamation of all the art I ever thought was cool. So, I would say my inspiration for music is quite, this is a boring answer, but other music. Will I be touring Canada with Tech 9? Maybe one day. Again, I don't really know when I'm touring anywhere. Would you consider performing acoustic versions of Mystic tracks? Oh, honey, I got something coming for you. I'm so excited. I know something you don't know. This is so great. Are there more fast-paced or slowed-down songs? I'm trying to think if we have anything fast-paced. As I was listening to the album, I was listening to it like an hour ago as I was getting ready for this. I was realizing how depressing it kind of is. It's not depressing, okay? Because depressing implies that there's nothing uplifting. And the album in and of itself is an uplifting story of, like, rock bottom to recovery, But it's very dark. And so there are a couple songs that are more upbeat, but there's definitely nothing Complications upbeat, you know what I mean? It's definitely a moodier album. Oh, one sec, I accidentally pressed a button. Okay, here we go, we're good. I'm, like, technologically challenged. Will I marry you? I'm sorry, I'm already married to Post Malone. And Mackenzie Nicole's apparently. What zodiac sign am I? It's funny you ask that. I'm a Libra, and I kind of jab at that in a Cut Rose and Tap Water. I'm just like, poke, I'm a Libra. You will you will see what I mean. There's a line where I mention, it's not like I'm like, I'm a Libra. Like, it's not like that at all. But I kind of like poke at it. Okay, anyway. Can you sing Fear? I'm not gonna sing anything right now because my throat's sore. I say as I like sing every other sentence. What's my favorite feature I did with Strange? Favorite feature I've done is We're Not Sorry. It's a tech song where me and Seven got together. He created a beat. I sang the hook on it, then sent it to Tech. It's my favorite song. It's like my favorite piece to perform live. If you haven't seen me live, I always do like a medley in my set when I'm at a Strange show where I do a lot of the features I've done on other artist tracks from the label. And We're Not Sorry always closes that medley because it's like my favorite thing. A little pre-show ritual that no one knows is I always sound check We're Not Sorry. It's the last thing I do before I go on stage. Ma'am, we need men/unisex Mackenzie merch. Honey, do I have news for you. All of the new Mackenzie Nicole merch is going to be that because I too don't like women's cut shirts because I am not about that life, and I know a lot of you aren't either. So I talked to Big Guy and he was like, hey, I understand, now we're gonna do your shirts on unisex. So I was like, cool, let's do it. And now all the new merch designs are gonna be a little bit more universal and versatile. When are me and Seven getting married? Whew! Seven has a gorgeous, wonderful wife and 2 beautiful children, and he's just my platonic soulmate, don't worry. If I weren't doing music as a career, what would I do? I would definitely be a writer of some sort. I would work for a publication, do something like that. How do I feel like about King ISO and his new album? I got to have a really cool experience with ISO recently where we talked about the content of Mystic and all of that, and I got to kind of hear his angle from his project. And we have a lot in common, that we're both very open about, like, a lot of our struggles, and so getting to relate to him in that way was really special and meaningful, and I support a lot of the stuff that we discussed and a lot of what he stands for as an artist. Any artist to work with? Anybody? You think your third eye is a little anxiety and train? Da, 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 da. How many pets do I have? I have 2 bulldogs. I post about them sometimes. Have I ever heard of Sabrina Carpenter? You guys have the same type of vibe. I get told I look like Sabrina Carpenter at least once a day. I don't see it because it's like anyone kind of sees a round-faced blonde girl and is like, oh my god, is it Mackenzie Nicole? You could literally put a blonde wig on a volleyball and people will be like, oh my god, Mackenzie Nicole, it's you. So but I've listened to her and yeah. Do I like Lil Peep? Oh baby, I love Lil Peep. Am I in the Illuminati? I have no answer for that. I love when people just say things like Mac in the comments because I'm like, hi, that's me. We need a Mackenzie rapping serve. Do not dismiss it. Maybe one day, but right now, no. Here's the thing. I talk about this all the time. When I started writing, I only wrote in raps because that's all I listened to and all I grew up around. And Seven had to basically punch me in the face verbally and to be like, stop writing raps, and had to make me go melodic on stuff because I just couldn't do it. And so now I'm trained out of writing raps. Can you talk about the fact that just because you grew up in a more privileged life doesn't mean you can't have your own mental struggles? I love this question because I've had a lot of people act like I'm appropriating lesser served lifestyle. It's really weird. Because I talk very openly about the issues I have and being bipolar and being suicidal and going through everything I've went through and going through my mental breakdown. And I always like to remind people that no amount of money or love can change a chemical imbalance in your brain. So that's something that I always try to remind people who want to toss that, silver spoon, signed to daddy's label, never struggled in your life type of label on me, because that's just simply not who I am. Those are, like, my circumstances are my circumstances, but that doesn't change the fact that we all struggle, you know what I mean? And everyone's struggle is unique to them and valid. Your feelings are valid because you're feeling them, you know? And so, is Mystic a concept album? It is 100% a concept album. Absolutely. Mystic is a concept album in every sense. It's not one of those things where, like, I want to sound sophisticated, so I'm like, my album is a concept album, and then it's all just kind of like generic pop music. Like, a lot of artists, I feel like, do that these days, where they'll, like, make an album where, like, they do a bunch of, like, kind of related music videos, and they're like, it's a concept album. This is like a concept album. Did I take vocal lessons as a kid to help me become a singer? Did I start making music because of my signing talent? Also, I'm a Libra to represent, haha. Hi, fellow Libra. I've been singing opera since I was 6 years old. I had an amazing opera teacher who I'm still obviously in contact with. I want to take lessons again, named Wendy Bross, and she is amazing. And she, like I said, God, how old am I? 14 years now has given me the opportunity to be, like, trained classically and know how all the rules so I could break them in my individual work. So I've been training for a long time. Are there any more tracks off Mystic that have opera vocals like The House Above the World? House Above the World is the most operatic. There's a moment on another song that's, like, just a small, like, moment that has a little, like, opera, like, to it. But The House Above the World is the main moment for that. I'm sure you don't like putting labels to your music. You're right. But what genre do you consider Mystic? Like I said, me and Seven were given no direction with this album, because we weren't going pop, we weren't going hip hop, we weren't going any direction. We literally just sat down and were like, let's make the art we want to make. And so we ended up with this, like, kind of transcendent of genre project. So I guess if I had to pick a genre, I'd do the cop out and say alternative, right? But I really don't think it has a label. Like, and that's not me trying to, like, cop out of narrowing my scope, right? It's just genuinely, when you hear, I think you're going to agree, like, it kind of defies definition in a lot of ways. Do you think making your album is one of the best ways to cope with your mental illness? I didn't realize how beneficial it was going to be, because normally when I talk about my feelings, I get this, like, dirty, ashamed feeling that makes me want to, like, kill myself after I, like, open up to people, just to be very blunt. But with this album, it was, like, the opposite. Like, I would walk out of the studio and slowly feel these chapters closing for me. And I would walk off set of the visuals, and I would feel these chapters closing for me. And all of a sudden, I realized I was healing. You know, it was really beautiful. There were scenes, like, I talk about crying in the studio. I cried so much filming these videos, man. Like, I was just, like, I was falling asleep on set between every take because I was so emotionally exhausted. There was a scene that I'll talk about when it comes out that, like, I almost threw up filming it because I was so emotionally, like, rocked by it. When are you going to do movies? You'd be a great actress. Oh, honey, I got something in store for you. Where's the Jay White collab at? On Mystic or shelved? It is not on Mystic. What's my favorite food? Lasagna. Any dream travel destinations? If you give me the opportunity to go anywhere in the world, I will always choose New York. One piece of advice I can give to up-and-coming female artists. Same piece of advice I always give, okay? Learn about the business side. Be an executive. Because as an artist, as a female, as a young person, people, like, you're going to sit in these meetings and people are going to talk at you, through you, over you, but they won't speak to you because they think you're stupid, because you're a female, because you're an artist, because you're young, or because you're one of those things, right? So the best thing you can do in those situations is know more than anyone thinks you know. So that's my advice. The song On the Edge, Only With You, second verse was close to I've heard and love it. Thank you. I really want to do more like that. I am scrolling. What What am I most proud of with Mystic? Finally having creative control in doing my music. Finally getting to be, this is like I kind of consider this my debut album in a lot of ways, because this is like me, you know, like getting to do whatever I want for the first time. And so that's what I'm most proud of, is like you guys get to meet me for the first time in a lot of ways. When will the Mystic album listening party take place? Hee hee, you'll see. I'm sorry, I'm quiet right now, I'm scrolling. When I save this to my story for 24 hours, it's going to be hilarious, because it's just going to be me scrolling. I'm looking through the questions. Hello, how old are you? You look 20. You are correct. Okay. So, right now, I am finally caught up on all your questions. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here within the next couple minutes. So if you have anything on your mind right now, please get it out and I will answer it. Okay, when will we see a vinyl copy? Maybe. That might happen. I can neither confirm nor deny that there will be a vinyl of Mystic, but that would be pretty cool, right? I am looking at you guys saying things. Is Pick Out a Cloud a track from Mystic? Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying. I'm giving away so much. I'm going to get a call from my dad being like, hey, why did you say that? What kind of mental illness do I have? So when I went to therapy the first time, she was like, she was high. Sorry, my mom just popped up. Hi, Mom. When I went to therapy the first time, I was 14, and our big focus there was me having really severe OCD, and so that was something I worked on then, and kind of some anger management. And I've always been depressed. I've been suicidal since I was 6 years old. I don't laugh at that because it's funny. I kind of chuckle because that's the way I cope. I want to clarify that, because sometimes people misread my reactions as me invalidating how serious this stuff is, so I want to clarify that. But yeah, the first time I thought of killing myself, I was 6, so suicidal ideation, definitely depression. And then the best news I ever got in my life was in June of 2018 when I was told I was bipolar 1 by my amazing psychiatrist, who I wish I could shout out by name, but I feel like that's a bad idea. But she's amazing. She's a lifesaver. She saved my life. So that's really what I'm dealing with the most, and anxiety. Got a lot of that. What ultimately made me want to start making music? I grew up in a record label, so it just kind of seemed like a logical extension of my childhood. So I don't really know what other than that. It just kind of always felt natural. You know, I used to talk about this when I first started with doing music as a solo artist. I realized that music was like oxygen for me. You don't think to be grateful for it because it's around you all the time and sustaining you all the time. But when you really think about it, you rely on that, you know? And that's what I realized. I didn't ever appreciate music in my life as much as I should have until really I was probably 16 or 17 when I started. No, 15 or 16 is when I started doing solo music. But realizing that I was on a plane from Hawaii to Los Angeles. And I was watching Straight Outta Compton. This is a moment, I've never talked about this. I was watching Straight Outta Compton, and I was looking at these stories of people that we are, friends with as a label, and looking at this, music history. And then I landed in LA, this place where, music history is, happening around you all the time. And it made me reflect on my childhood and what I have experienced being in the music industry, and I realized that I could never leave it, you know? Heart of Darkness is mentioned on this album, the Joseph Conrad novella, and there's a story in Heart of Darkness, where the main character, Marlowe, is talking about this venture in the Congo in Africa, where he saw all these like stunning and horrifying things and beautiful and horrible things. And he ventured into the Heart of Darkness, and then he made it out. And this entire story is one long quote from him telling the story. You know, it's not in narrative current fashion, it's in reflection. And at the very end of the novel, you realize he's telling the story from a boat where he's heading back to the Congo, to the Heart of Darkness. Because when he came back to the real world, he found that nothing could live up to what he just experienced. I kind of felt the same way about the music industry. How do you grow up in this and then go, you know, be an accountant? You know, nothing's wrong with that. But, like, I don't know how you grow up in the music industry and do anything else, you know? It's just all I've known, so I couldn't leave. Have I ever been to Build-A-Bear? On a lighter note. Yes. I used to get a Build-A-Bear every time my dad went out of town when I was little, and my dad was out of town a lot, so I've definitely been to Build-A-Bear. How's it having Travis as a father? He's dope. He's awesome. I love my dad. Do I look more like my mom or my dad? I think I look like both. Like, especially, like, no makeup. Like, I look like my dad, but I have my mom's hair and all that, so it's, like, kind of I think we hit a fine line. Biggest fear about singing in the crowd and let me do that again. What was your biggest fear about singing in the crowd, and do you feel when you made your first song, and how are you feeling now? I'm trying to decipher what exactly I'm being asked here. I've never really had fear of performing. It's like the only time I don't feel anxious and scared is when I'm on stage. I don't know why that is. It's like a weird paradoxical reverse within me. But I don't know, when I made my first song, it just felt like an obvious thing to do, you know? It seemed very natural. Still feels very natural. I'm getting a lot of comments here being supportive of, like, my mental illness and talking about your guys's, and I just want to, like, I'm not going to read any specific comments right now because there are several of them, but I really appreciate your guys' support, and it means a lot to me because it is, definitely something worth talking about. And that's another thing with this album that's really important to me, besides this whole understanding of self and others thing, is I want to expand the dialogue regarding mental health and wellness, because I think that we're getting better at talking about it, but we aren't good at talking about it, you know what I mean? And so I really want to fix that. Now, I can't single-handedly fix it. I want to better it. I think that's a better word. You're so gangster. Thank you. Am I doing any kind of listening parties like I did for The Edge? Maybe. I can't say, but that'd be cool. Where'd I get my necklace? You love it. I designed this, and I got it from our amazing jeweler, our strange music jeweler, Casey Jewelry, out in LA. It is so important to me. Like, when we made this album, like, I had this vision for everything, right? For the album cover and for all the symbolism and for the visuals and for all of this. And I am so grateful to Strange, and specifically to Travis Ogwen, my dad, for, as Strange Music CEO, for facilitating it, because every dream has come true, truly. Like, everything has. This is one of those pieces. It's gold, mother of pearl, sapphire, and obsidian. And it's just, I don't know, it's like a piece of me now. Do I have a new song on the album with Stevie Stone? No, I don't, but I love Stevie. It'd be cool. Maze is on here. Maze01, loving the album artwork. Thank you, baby. I love you. Mwah. My next album should be called Heart of Darkness. I don't know if we can name an album that, but maybe we could name a song that on an album that comes out on Valentine's Day. That'd be crazy. Like I said, I'm going to sign off within the next couple minutes. So I think the next couple minutes could be like 2 minutes, so please finish sending in all your feelings, all your thoughts. Love you. Live stream again soon. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I love you guys. I deeply, deeply appreciate you guys being here and caring enough to listen to me talk for like what's probably been at least an hour now. Yeah, I just like the amount of support I have received already just like today with like just revealing like the album cover and the trailer has been like really, I'm gonna cry, has been like so crazy, and like this is the proudest I've ever been of anything, and it just means a lot to me that you guys want to be a part of it, and thank you for listening to me talk about it. And I love you, and I love your questions, and I love your involvement. I'm a baby. I'm a crybaby. Thank you guys again. I love you just so much. I love you so much, and keep an eye out for Mystic. Valentine's Day 2020. Bye.